What up, y'all? I'm gonna be reading the Bible to y'all for about 15 to 20 minutes. Got it from a friend for Christmas. We're gonna also be highlighting things that we find that would catch our attention as we go along. It's just only part one, by the way. I'm gonna also break that habit of just doing that. But the timer starts now. Okay. So we're gonna start off with the Old Testament. And this also to help me learn how, I'm gonna be reading more, just to help me speak better. Yes, I am motivated by certain other persons to start doing this, but I figure that's something I also wanted to do for a long time, but here we go. Introduction to the Old Testament. The Old Testament consists of 39 books written and compiled at various times from as early as the 15th to as late as the 3rd century BC by various leaders from the nation of Israel. Primarily prophets, priests, and kings, although some of the I can't see, I need glasses. Some of the authors remain unknown. The entirety of the Old Testament was originally written in Hebrew, except for a few selections in the Aramaic language, a sister language of Hebrew that became the common language of Asia Near East. The Old Testament begins with God's creation of the universe and ends about 400 years before the birth of Jesus Christ. It provides the inspired records of God's love for mankind and particularly the nation of Israel and reveals God's plan of salvation. That's the Old Testament records God's actions before the creation of mankind, underscores that the fact that it is God's word to us, his personal revelation of his thoughts and will for us. You will find that the Old Testament is filled with remarkable historical stories that demonstrate God's power and love, as well as fascinating individuals such as David and Samson, whose exploits have become legendary. Keep in mind, however, that the historical events, the personal encounters of individuals with God, and the marvelous lessons of faith and courage have one unifying theme. They all point to the person of coming Messiah, Jesus Christ. The redemptive story of forgiveness through Christ dominates the Old Testament from beginning to end. If you read his words closely, you will find many foreshadowing and symbols of Christ's coming. Throughout the centuries, the Hebrew Bible went through the lengthy process of transmission. Jewish scholars were sculptors in preserving the integrity of the original manuscripts. Tongue got tied up. Through successive generations, numerous groups of Jewish scribes were succeeded in the 6th century AD by a group known as the Masoretes, who diligently maintained the text for another 500 years in a form known as the Masoretic text. The discovery in 1947 through 1956 of the Dead Sea Scroll, which take the text back to 200 through 100 BC, confirms that amazing accuracy in the preservation of the Old Testament. Most English translations of the Old Testament divide the books into 4 major categories. Okay, so I'm gonna get into the categories. And before I knew, I kind of when it come down to reading, bro, like I said, I just want to get better at talking without all my stuttering. Sometimes I ain't gonna lie, sometimes I stutter and sometimes I don't use my tongue, but we're gonna break that habit. So the books of law, the first 5 books: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Yo, if I pronounce some of these words wrong, I'm so sorry. I will go back on Google and search it up later and learn how to properly pronounce it. But those right there make up the Pentateuch, which means 5 scrolls. The Jews call these 5 books the Torah or law. An understanding of these 5 books of law is fundamental to an understanding of the Bible. They begin with a self-revelation of God to man and creation. the origin of sin and the establishment of Abraham's family and God's plan of salvation for mankind. In these first 5 books, we find the miraculous beginning of Israel and its purpose as a nation. The Book of Law contains the many laws God gave to govern the Jewish people and to keep them as his special people. The Book of History. The next 12 books: Joshua, Judge, Ruth, 1 through Samuel, and then you got 1 through Kings, and 1 through 2 Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. Continue the history of Israel. Beginning with Joshua's leadership, God demonstrated his faithfulness in giving the Israelites the promised land and establishing a kingdom that lasted almost 500 years. From the beginning over the candidates to the dismal failures that led to the judges in the coming regions of the kings, such as Saul and David and Solomon, we discover the national individuals and consequences for obedience and disobedience to God. The historical books take us forward to the overthrow and captivity of Israel by our nations, then to the amazing return of God's people to the promised land. Okay. Poems and wisdom literature. Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Aeschylus, and the Song of Solomon represent nearly 1/3 of the Old Testament and were written in poetry. The ancient Hebrew had a highly sophisticated poetic format that features both rhythm and meter. Poetry forces the reader to slow down and meditate on the meaning of the words, whether it's beautiful words of prayer and praise to God, or as wise saying, or as personal reflection on suffering. These writings touch our emotions and imagination as well as our intellect. Many of the poems and songs were used during the Jews' feasts and festivals to celebrate God's goodness. Many of today's worship songs contain words found in these books. The books of prophets. The final 17 books of the Old Testament are the prophets. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi. During the years when the kings ruled Israel and Judah, God's spokesmen were prophets. Through some of the prophets predicted future events, their primary task was to call people back to the obedience to God. All right, and that's the introduction to the Old Testament. So now we're on to the Genesis of the book of the Bible. It seems like, it contains a few parts, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But there also gonna be a part 2, so I will, go back where I left off at. All right. Genesis. The creation of the world. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning the first day. And God said, "Let there be expanse in the midst of the water, and let it separate the waters from the waters." And God made an expanse and separated the waters that were under the expanse from the waters, and were above the expanse. And it was so. And God called the expanse heaven. And there was evening, and there was morning the second day. And God said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together he called seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the earth sprout vegetations, plants yielding seeds, and fruit seeds bearing fruits in which is their seed, each according to his kind on the earth." And it was so. The earth brought forth vegetations, plants yielding seeds according to their own kinds, and trees bearing fruit in which is their own seed, each according to his kind. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning the third day. And God said, let there be light in the expanse of the heavens to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and let them be lights in the expanse of the heavens to give lights upon the earth. And it was so. And God made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. And God set them in the expanse of the heavens to give light on the earth, to rule the darkness. And God saw it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning the fourth day. And God said, let the water swarm with swarms of living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the heavens. So God created the great sea creatures and every living creature that moves, which with the water swarm according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth. And there was evening, and there was morning the fifth day. And God said, let there be and God said, let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kinds, livestock and creeping things, beasts upon the earth according to their kinds. And it was so. And God made the beasts of earth according to their kinds, and the livestock according to their kind, and everything that creeps on the earth, on the ground, according to his kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over the livestock, and all the earth, and over every creepy thing that creeps on the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them. And God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heaven, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. And God said, behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of all the earth, and every tree. Wait, I can't see. I'm gonna start over. I'm so sorry. And God said, behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of all the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food, and to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the heavens, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has the breath of life, I have given every green plant for food. And it was so. And God saw that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And there was evening, and there was morning in the sixth day. Oh my guys. I think my throat is going dry. Okay. The seventh day, God rests. Thus the heavens and earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. And on the seventh day, God finished his work that he had done, and he had rested the seventh day from all his work that he had done. So God blessed the seventh day and made it holy. Because of it, God rested from all his work that he had done in creation, the creation of man and woman. These are the generations of heaven and the earth when they were created, in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. When no bush of the field was yet in the land, and no small plant of the field had yet sprung up, for the Lord God had not caused it to rain on the land, and there was no man to work the ground. And a mist was going up from the land, and was watering the whole face of the ground. And then Lord God formed the man of dust from the ground, and breathed into the nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living creature. And the Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the east, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground the Lord God made to spring up every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river flowed out of Eden to water the garden, and there it divided, became 4 rivers. The name of the first is the Pison. It is one that flowed around the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. Bdellium and onyx stone are there. The name of the second river is Gihon. It is one that flowed around the whole land of Cush. And the name of the third river is the Tigris, which flowed east of Assyria. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. I'm trying. I'm going to go back and highlight every word that I messed up. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, You may surely eat of every tree of the garden, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it you shall surely die. Then the Lord God said, It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper fit for him. Now out of the ground the Lord God hath formed every beast of the field, and every bird of the heavens brought to the man, to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called every creature, that was his name. The man gave name to all livestock, and to the birds of the heavens, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam, there was not found a helper fit for him. So the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and while he slept, took one of his ribs and closed up his place with flesh. And the rib that the Lord God had taken from the man, he made into a woman and brought her to the man. Then the man said, This is the last bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. You shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore, a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife. They shall become one flesh. And the man and his wife were both naked and were not ashamed. The serpent was more crafty than any of other beasts of the field that the God had made. He said to the woman, Did God actually say you shall not eat of the tree in the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees in the garden, but God said, You shall not eat of the fruit of the tree that is in the midst of the garden, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. But the serpent said to the woman, You will not surely die, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be open. You will be like God, knowing good and evil. So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was delight to the eyes, and that the tree was to be desired to make one wise, she took of its fruit and ate. She also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate. Then the eyes both were opened, and they knew they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves loincloths. And they heard the sound of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God amongst the trees of the garden. But the Lord God called to the man and said to him, Where are you? And he said, I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself. He said, Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree of which I command you not to eat? And the man said, The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave birth of the tree, and I ate. She gave me fruit of the tree, and I ate. Then the Lord God said to the woman, What is this that you have done? The woman said, The serpent deceived me, and I ate. The Lord God said to the serpent, Oh man, nose running a little bit. The Lord God said to the serpent, Because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and above all beasts of the field. On your belly you shall go, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel. To the woman he said, I will surely multiply your pain in childbearing, and the pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. And to Adam he said, Because you have listened to the voice of your wife and have eaten of the tree of which I command you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed is the God because of you. Cursed is the ground because of you. In pain you shall eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread till you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken, for you are dust, and to dust you shall return. The man called his wife name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. And the Lord God made for Adam, for his wife, garments of skin and clothed them. Then the Lord God said, Behold, the man has become like one of us in knowing good and evil. Now lest he reach out his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. Therefore the Lord God sent him out from the Garden of Eden to work the garden from which he was taken. He drove out the man, and at the east of the Garden of Eden, he placed the cherubim and flashing sword that turned every way to guard the way to the tree of life. Cain and Abel. Now Adam knew Eve his wife. She conceived and bore Cain, saying, I have gotten a man with the help of the Lord. And again, she bore his brother Abel. Now Abel was a keeper of sheep, and Cain a worker of the ground. In the course of time, Cain brought up to the Lord an offspring of the fruit of the ground, and Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock of their fat portions. And the Lord had regarded for Abel and his offering, but for Cain and his offering he had no regard. So Cain was very angry, and his face fell. The Lord said to Cain, Why are you angry, and why are your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is for you, and you must rule over it. Cain spoke to Abel, his brother. And when they were in the field, Cain rose up against his brother Abel and killed him. Then the Lord said to Cain, Where is Abel, your brother? He said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? And the Lord said, What have you done? The voice of your brother is... Yo, I just want to say, growing up my whole life, my mom always said to me, I got two younger brothers at my house, and just reading this kind of it reminded me, of being my brother's keeper. Because it's a saying, I am my brother's keeper, and I protect him at any cost. That's something that always stuck with me. And I feel like, if you got siblings, it should apply to you as well. So, and the Lord said, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground. And now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it shall no longer yield to you its strength. You shall be a fugitive and wander on the earth. Cain said to the Lord, My punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, you have driven me today away from the ground, and from your face I shall be hidden. I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me. Then the Lord said to him, No, not so. If anyone kill Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord put a mark on Cain, lest any who found him should attack him. Then Cain went away from the presence of the Lord, and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. When he built a city, he called the city after the name of his son Enoch. To Enoch was born Erad, and Erad fathered Mehujael, and Mehujael fathered Methuselah, and Mehujael fathered Lamech. Bro, all them names, bro. Hold on. All them names got me. Remember, drink y'all water. All right. And Lamech took two wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the other was Zillah. Ada bore Jabal, and he was the father of who dwelled in tents and have livestock. His brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all those who played the lyre and pipe. Zillah also bore Tubal. Cain. He was the fourth of all the instruments of bronze and iron. The sister of Tubal Cain was Naamah. Lamech said to his wife, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. You wives of Lamech, listen to what I say. I have killed a man for wounding me, a young man for striking me. If Cain revenge is sevenfold, then Lamech is 77fold. And Adam knew his wife again. She bore a son and called his name Zeph, for she said, God has appointed for me another offspring instead of Abel, for Cain killed him. To Zeph also a son was born. He called his name Enosh. At the time, people began to call upon the name of the Lord. Oh, guys, let me see what we're gonna. I'll get to like another section. So we're already 25 minutes in. I don't know if y'all can see, but we're gonna end up stopping like right there, like right there. I'll mark it up. I got y'all. So we're gonna put a mark. If y'all can see that, that's where we're gonna stop at. Okay. Okay. Adam, descendants to Noah. This is the book of the generation of Adam. When God created man, he made him in the likeness of God. Male and female, he created them, and he blessed them. And he named them man when they were created. When Adam had lived 130 years, he fathered a son in his own likeness, after his image, and named him Zeph. The days of Adam after he fathered Zeph were 800 years, and he had other sons and daughters. Those all the days that Adam lived there were 930 years. 930 years, and he died. When Zeph had lived 105, he fathered Enosh. Zeph lived after he fathered Enosh 807 years and had other sons and daughters. Those all the days of Zeph were 912 years, and he died. When Enosh had lived 90 years, he fathered Kenan. Enosh lived after he fathered Kenan 815 years and had other sons and daughters. Those all the days of Enosh were 905 years, and he died. When Kenan had lived 70 years, he fathered Mahalalel. Kenan lived after he fathered Mahalalel 840 years, and he had other sons and daughters. Those all the days of Kenan were 910 years, and he died. With Mahalalel, listen, some of these names, I'm trying, dog, I'm really young. When Mahalalel had lived 65 years, he fathered Jared. Mahalalel lived after he fathered Jared 830 years and had other sons and daughters. Those all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. When Jared, he lived 162 years, and he fathered Enosh. Jared lived after he fathered Enosh 800 years and had other sons and daughters. Those all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. When Enosh had lived 65 years, he fathered Methuselah. Enosh walked with God after he fathered Methuselah 300 years and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days of Enosh were 365 years. Enosh walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. When Methuselah had lived 187 years, he fathered Lamech. Methuselah, yo, this is like tongue twister for me. We're gonna get better, bro. Methuselah lived after he fathered Lamech 782 years and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. When Lamech had lived 182 years, he fathered a son, and he called his name Noah, saying, out of the ground that the Lord had cursed, this one shall bring us relief from our work and from painful toil of our hands. Lamech lived after he fathered Noah 595 years and had other sons and daughters. Thus all the years of Lamech were 777 years, and he died. After Noah was 500 years old, Noah fathered Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And that's where we're gonna stop at today. Yo, honestly, yo, we said we were gonna do 15 to 20, but I think we went past that, and I think that's good though. But I got where we left off, y'all. So that's only part 1 of today. We're gonna try to read this daily, try to get it in. Obviously I work, I do schoolwork, I be trying to stream, I be working out. We're gonna do a whole 360. This year gonna be our year. We're gonna do big things this year. So I appreciate y'all for, tuning in, listening, and y'all stay safe. Y'all have a good night, good morning, wherever y'all at. But y'all be good.